The golden rays of the afternoon sun filtered gently through the sheer curtains of the high-ceilinged apartment, casting a warm, tranquil glow over the polished wooden floor. The sound of footsteps echoed softly as Ava stepped inside, her heels clicking against the floor with a rhythm that seemed to match her excitement. She tossed her handbag onto the plush white couch and turned toward the full-length mirror by the entrance. With a flick of her wrist, she brushed a few long, blonde strands over her shoulder and beamed at her reflection. She looked radiant. Her newly refreshed hair shimmered in the sunlight. The soft highlights added that very morning, dancing like golden threads woven into a silk tapestry. Ava had always taken pride in her hair. Thick, healthy, naturally blonde, and now gently kissed with subtle streaks of platinum. It had taken 3 hours at her favorite salon downtown, but it was worth every minute. "Baby?" she called out as she walked into the open-concept kitchen where her boyfriend Josh was pouring himself a glass of water. He turned, his gaze immediately drawn to her hair. "Wow," he said, a smile playing on his lips. "You look incredible." Ava grinned, spinning once to show off the full effect. "You like it?" "Love it," Josh said, walking up and running a hand through the freshly done waves. "Seriously, you look amazing." She leaned into his touch, her heart swelling with pride and affection. They had been together for almost 2 years now, living in their bright and modern apartment, enjoying the rhythm of life they'd built together. Josh was thoughtful, kind, and had a spark of adventure that Ava found endlessly charming. As they sat down for dinner later that evening, the topic of the upcoming weekend came up. "Oh, by the way," Josh said, between bites of pasta, "you remember that charity event I mentioned last month? The one for cancer awareness?" Ava nodded, twirling her fork. "Yeah, the one with the fundraiser and concert, right?" "There's more," he said. "They're doing a charity Headshave. It's a big thing. They've got a tent set up in the town square, barbers, stylists, everything. Tons of people are signing up. You get sponsors, shave your head, and all the money goes straight to cancer research." Ava raised an eyebrow. "That's pretty intense." Josh leaned forward, his expression eager. "I was thinking we could do it together." She froze for a second, setting down her fork. "Wait, what?" "You and me, together. Think about it. What better way to raise awareness? We'd get a ton of support. I already have a few coworkers who said they'd donate if I do it. And if you join too, we could probably double that." Ava laughed nervously. "You're joking, right? I just spent hours at the salon today. Look at my hair. Why would I shave it all off now?" Josh's smile faltered. "It's just hair, Ava. It grows back. But this isn't just hair to me. It's part of who I am. You know how much I love it. I take care of it. She paused, frowning. "Why don't you just do it if you're so passionate about it?" "I will," he said. "But it would mean so much more if we did it together." Ava crossed her arms, the warmth from earlier cooling rapidly. "Well, I'm not doing it." There was a long silence. Josh nodded slowly, but she could see the disappointment in his eyes. That night, and for the week that followed, a subtle tension settled over their home. Not quite an argument, but not peace either. Josh was quieter, less affectionate, occasionally distant. Ava tried brushing it off, but it gnawed at her. She would catch herself looking in the mirror, admiring the fresh highlights, and then feel a pang of guilt. Was she being selfish? Was she choosing vanity over something truly meaningful? By the 6th day, after another awkward dinner and a silent evening on the couch, she made up her mind. "I'll do it," she said quietly. Josh turned to her, surprised. "What?" "I'll do it," Ava repeated, her voice trembling. "I'll shave my head for the charity. If it means that much to you, I'll do it." He looked at her for a long moment, then slowly reached for her hand. "Are you sure?" No, she wasn't, but she nodded. The week leading up to the event passed in a blur of conflicted emotions. Ava told herself she was doing the right thing. It was for a good cause, something bigger than her hair. And yet, every time she looked in the mirror, she felt a pang in her chest. Her fingers would glide instinctively through the soft golden strands, savoring the sensation. She started sleeping with her hair down instead of in her usual braid, letting it cascade over her pillow, knowing that soon it would be gone. Josh, on the other hand, was all smiles now that she had agreed. He was back to his usual self, affectionate, upbeat, supportive. But Ava noticed he never mentioned how hard this might be for her. Maybe he thought she was stronger than she felt. The night before the event, she stood in front of the mirror in the bathroom, brushing her hair one last time before bed. The strokes were slow, reverent, almost ceremonial. The overhead light made the fresh highlights shimmer like liquid gold. "I'm going to miss you," she whispered to her reflection. She didn't sleep much. Saturday morning, the town square was already buzzing with activity when they arrived. The charity tent was impossible to miss. A large white canopy with banners strung across the front, reading, "Shave for Hope," and "Every hair counts." Rows of chairs had been set up, each paired with a stool and a hairdresser dressed in black. A crowd of onlookers was gathering, clapping, cheering, taking pictures. A small stage stood at the far end, where someone was giving a heartfelt speech over a microphone. Ava felt her stomach twist. Josh held her hand tightly as they approached the sign-in table. A volunteer handed them both forms and a plastic bag each. The bags were labeled with their names, meant for collecting the shorn hair if they wanted to keep it. Ava politely declined. As she walked into the tent, the overwhelming smell of hairspray and antiseptic hit her. She looked around and saw a few women already seated, their long hair being tied into ponytails before the first cut. Some were smiling. Some looked like they were trying not to cry. A stylist, a woman in her 40s with a warm smile and buzzed platinum hair, waved her over. "You must be Ava. You're on my list. Right this way." Ava's throat felt dry as she followed. She could barely look at Josh, who was being led to a chair a few rows down. The stylist gestured to the chair. "Ready, hun?" Ava hesitated for a second, then slowly sat down. The chair was cold beneath her, the vinyl sticking slightly to her arms. Her stylist reached behind and snapped open a folded cape, deep green, slightly shiny, and flung it through the air. It settled over Ava's shoulders, heavy and enveloping. The woman secured it snugly around her neck with a Velcro strip and a soft white paper neck strip underneath. Ava felt like she was in a dream. The stylist leaned in gently. "You nervous?" Ava nodded. "That's okay. A lot of people are. But I promise, you're doing something beautiful, and you're going to rock the look." Ava tried to smile, but her lips barely moved. The stylist stepped behind her, running her hands through the long golden hair. "Wow, this is gorgeous. Highlights, too. You sure you're ready?" "Number." But she nodded again. "All right, then. We'll start by sectioning it off for the first cut." She watched in the mirror as the stylist picked up a comb and began parting her hair into sections. The gentle tug of the comb was familiar, but now it felt like a countdown. One by one, the stylist tied her hair into 6 tight ponytails, 2 at the back, 2 at the sides, and 2 on top. Ava couldn't help but notice how silly they looked. "This is the point of no return," the stylist said kindly, placing a hand on Ava's shoulder. "Are you ready?" Ava swallowed hard, gripping the armrests under the cape. "Do it." The stylist picked up a long pair of scissors and positioned them just above the base of the first ponytail. With deliberate, decisive snips, she began cutting. Snip, snip, snip. Ava watched in horror and awe as the thick tail of golden hair came free and was placed on the table beside her. The remaining hair stood up in a jagged tuft. The stylist moved quickly, repeating the process with the others. Each ponytail landed beside the first, forming a pile of what once was Ava's crowning glory. By the end, she looked like a rag doll, uneven tufts of hair sticking out at odd angles. The real moment, though, was still to come. "Okay, now we go smooth," the stylist said, reaching for the clippers. Ava's heart thudded in her chest. The stylist held up the silver machine and flipped the switch. It came to life with a loud buzz. She rested her hand gently on Ava's crown. "Chin down for me, hun." Ava obeyed, eyes wide as she stared at the dark green cape in her lap. The buzzing grew louder as the clippers touched her nape. Brrrm. The vibration was jarring, and then she felt it. Hair being mowed away in a single, clean pass. The stylist worked quickly, skillfully, guiding the clippers up the back of Ava's head in long, steady strokes. Clumps of blonde hair tumbled down the cape and slid to the floor. Ava bit her lip, trying not to cry. Another pass. Another. The back was done. The clippers moved to the side now, gliding just above her ear, leaving a smooth path in their wake. Her head felt cold, exposed. Then the top. Ava saw it happen in the mirror. The last bit of her golden hair being pushed forward by the buzzing clippers, falling lifelessly over her eyes before being swept away. She was bald. The stylist made a few final passes to even things out, then turned off the clippers. The sudden silence was deafening. Ava sat frozen as the stylist brushed the last clippings from her scalp and removed the neck strip and cape. She looked up. The mirror showed her a stranger. Bare scalp, pale and smooth. Her head perfectly shaped. Her face looked bigger somehow, her eyes wider. She was speechless. The stylist smiled. "You look absolutely stunning." For a moment, Ava didn't know what to think. Then someone behind her clapped. Then another. Then the whole tent. Josh came over. His head now buzzed down too, and took her hands in his. "You're beautiful," he whispered. She didn't know if she believed it, but she felt something shift inside her. Relief, maybe. Or pride. A volunteer handed her a small mirror and a bottle of lotion for her scalp. "You did something amazing today," the woman said. Ava looked at herself again, and this time, she smiled. Ava couldn't stop touching her scalp. Back at the apartment that evening, after the applause had faded and the crowd had dispersed, she stood alone in the bathroom. Josh was in the living room, chatting with friends online about the event, full of energy and pride. But Ava had fallen silent again. She traced her fingers over the smooth skin of her head, marveling at how strange it felt. Like velvet in one direction, like sandpaper in the other. Her scalp was a pale version of her face, untouched by sun, newly revealed to the world. She ran her hands over it again and again, unsure whether she hated the feeling or loved it. Maybe both.